Is there any objection to people from out of town speaking to this article? Could you state your name, please, and where you're from?
Beverly Peterson from Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what you're asking in this.
We're just asking if there are out-of-town folks that would like to speak to this article. Would you like to speak to this article?
Yes, I guess so.
So you want to speak to this article?
What I'd like to say is that I think that...
Well, wait a minute, please. Would you like to speak to this article?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from out of town that would like to speak to this article? Okay. Is there any objection from the registered voters of Proctor to this woman speaking to this article? Okay. In that case, we're going to have a vote. All those in favor of allowing out-of-town speakers to speak to this article, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. The ayes? Yes. That's correct. That's correct. All right. So we're going to allow this woman to speak. So John's issue was that we only voted on this one woman to speak to this article from out of town.
My statement related only to the fact that this woman indicated a desire to speak, to which I have no objection. But when you presented the question about allowing an unlimited number of people. You just said allowing people outside of town to speak. And with the clarification that your question or your presentation was for this individual only, certainly no objection at all.
So this woman, my understanding, will be the only out-of-town person allowed to speak to this article. Just to clarify that. If there's any objection to that, no. Hearing no objection. So I'm going to ask everybody that, first of all, how many people are going to speak to this article? Okay. I'm going to ask you all to come down to the center aisle to speak to this article. You don't have to stand up, but when you're ready to speak, please come to the center aisle so that it'll be easy to see who's speaking and see what the issues are. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay. So, when you come up to speak, please state your name clearly, where you are from, and you are going to be limited to 3 minutes. So if you would like to maybe form a line or whatever and come up and speak, people that are not able to stand up and speak, a microphone will be brought to you. So, who has the microphone? Okay, so Paul is the person speaking.
Okay, well, I moved up here. I'm sorry. So I can see people. I don't think this article is about money tonight, but because there's a money offer on the table, $1.5 million, that works out to about $900 an acre. I just got back from a neighborhood in Houston where the land is being sold for $6 million an acre. So the 1.5 million down there would literally buy a quarter of an acre. We live in Vermont, obviously, and this is the Green Mountain State. Mountains define who we are. And people come here from all over to enjoy our mountains. As we discuss this article tonight, keep in mind that this property we're talking about is a gem of a property. It's a huge piece of property, it's high elevation, and it's in the heart of the Green Mountains. It is surrounded on 3 sides by national forest. Almost 90 years ago, our town had the wisdom to buy this land and protect it. That's why we bought the land, to protect the land and the water. Tonight, I urge you that we must continue our efforts to protect this land for public access. Going through the property, you may not know, is the Long Trail. Also, the Catamount Trail goes through the property, and also the vast network of trails goes through that property. Generations of Vermonters have enjoyed that property. Tonight, I urge you to vote no on this on this article, because we have no assurance that this valuable resource will be permanently protected with public access. There's no urgency to sell this land. If we do want to sell it, I would urge the select board to sell it to the to the Green Mountain National Forest or some other public entity, so that this land is permanently protected, okay, and it's open to public access. Thank you.
Please state your name.
Holly English Payne. The reason that I wanted very much to be here to speak is I've been reading a lot about this question, and we are very lucky to have, if you're not on Facebook, Proctor Parents, which is a Facebook group. I live in Proctor. There's a number of different ones, and they're very helpful for me, keeping up. If I don't know everybody, and I'm not getting out much these days. What's important to me is that the land is preserved to Proctor for the reason that I believe that global warming will mean water will become more precious than gold. This is a source of water. It is very important that we hold on to it. One of my particular fears about this particular piece of property, which has at least one famous spring, boiling spring, is that a private entity, if they were to purchase it, would be contacted or be in league with a company, an international company like Nestle, who has gone around the United States and destroyed watersheds and springs by the use of their plastic bottles that we all buy at the deli. And I think that's important, that we protect this land from that alone. The other part is what was just mentioned, all the different trails that go through this public land. I hope sometime soon I can walk this particular land. If I can't, I hope my kids can. So I think it's very important that we hang on to it, do what we have to do to keep it public land, but just in case we need it, it'd be nice to have that water sometime in the future. Maybe not 10 years from now, maybe not 20, but possibly 50 years from now, we might need it.
My comment is
Please state your name and where you're from.
Beverly Peterson from And my comments echo yours. The fact that this piece of property has a spring on it, and that water is going to become the most valuable thing in the world. And I think it's short-sighted to sell this property with a spring on it. So I would just ask people not to sell it. Water is so valuable.
Thank you.
So Bob Stein from Proctor. And I have a question for the selectmen, or maybe it's a comment, and that is, I understand this is a non-binding vote we're taking. Is that right? Okay, well, I would urge the selectmen to listen to the vote. And I understand it's non-binding, but I think it's important that we're speaking tonight, and you should hear us, and you can disregard it, but I would ask you not to.
Hi, Robert Callahan. I wouldn't say I necessarily have a serious problem with the town selling some land off if they're in a real, fiscal bind where they need the cash. But it's such value on the turn the select board deemed to be acceptable. I feel like the town, the town people should have more say in what is acceptable or unacceptable for land to be sold, terms, whatnot. And also, what that money, when it's sold, if you sell the land, what the money might be earmarked for, where it's going, maybe a little transparency. And, I kind of agree with the guy that was up here earlier. It's probably way undervalued with your current bidder at $1.5 million or something. 40 acres up the shit. That's all I'd say. We're considered the town.
Clarification, it's closer to 17 or 1800 acres.
I don't know. I'm not a land guy. I'm just saying, include everybody in on what's an acceptable term. Be transparent about the process, where the money's going. I'd even suggest delaying that until you have amend the article to include that language. That's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not a very good speaker, but I've been in Proctor 75 years and spent a lot of time on different boards. And naturally, I don't want to see it sold. There is, each 3 or 4 years, 5 years, there's $1 million or close to it that you can harvest lumber off of there and sell it. And that's an awful loss. You accept $1.5 million for it, and you throw millions away in the future. And in the future, it's going to be rough because you've been looking around the country and watching TV and all. And I just can't see it. Mr. Birdwatcher, somebody did. They go up there too. And there's probably a dozen people that use that year round. And it's a shame to sell it. That's my feeling.
Philip Anderson. I agree with the former gentleman. We're in uncertain times, and everybody's grabbing at hard assets, sinking their money into hard assets because we don't know what's going to happen with the dollar with our investments. And I don't know why we would consider selling this property at this time. It seems like something we want to hold on to. I saw one of the town meetings stand. I think the figure was $55,000 a year can be made logging this property. And that's every year we would get a current value for that logging. That means in the future the money all went to hell. We would still get a value for that wood, and we could still have a property that could be sold if it was emergency, or we would have water, which the other people mentioned. I have a question, and I read the rules of how the select board goes about selling a property. This was announced as a watershed. Could this be sold as a water rights type of issue, and that way get around the public sentiment in this type of vote? There's certain exclusions to the rules where you're saying this is a non-binding vote, so I don't know why I even came if we're all going to vote, and then they can just ignore the majority. The select board can just ignore what we're going to do here. It just seems kind of funny that I showed up to vote when it doesn't even matter. Possibly, I would like to have the town have a say in this, because it seems like there's just people that want to do something for somebody who wants a hard asset. I don't blame them for wanting a hard asset at this time, but I think it's more important for the town to hold on to this at this time. Thank you.
The question is, since this is being announced as a watershed, can this make it so rules of the select board, they can just go around to people no matter what and just sell it if they want to go ahead and do that?
There's somebody on the select board that can address that?
So the answer to that question is yes. The select board can choose to do that. However, the select board did opt to put it on as an article to get the town's feedback. It wasn't anything other than it was to get information and to go with what the voters said. The water rights, we wouldn't be going around to get water rights, sell water rights either. At this time.
I also just want to point out that even if the select board went and made the agreement to sell the land, with a petition, there would be a special town meeting, and you can decide whether or not to approve it or not. The reason,
This rule excludes that. The rule of the watershed, they would never be told that that was not the condition if they would be able to sell it.
okay, I'm looking at our town attorney, if he's disagreeing. Can we give Alan the floor? Alan, would you like to answer that question?
I'm Alan George. I'm the town lawyer. If this does not authorize the town to sell under any circumstances at all, I'm just trying to get the sense of what should be done here. If they ultimately have someone that made an offer and they want to sell the property, they decide as a select board vote to sell it, then they have two choices. One is just to inform you of that decision, in which case a petition of 5% of the voting residents would require them to submit this to a special meeting or an annual meeting. Or alternatively, they could just simply say, we want to put it up to the town vote anyway in a special meeting. Under no circumstances will this ever be sold or any portion of any group of rights, water rights, timber rights, access rights, sold, except under those circumstances.
There's exclusions that are listed, and they just said that one of the exclusions could be...
He was wrong.
Okay, thank you.
I'm John Jellick, I live on 3110 Park. First of all, I'm very ashamed to see you select board bring this up. All right? We do make money on Chittenden residents. We have logging that's been done up there, and we spent no money. But we made, when I was on the board, we made $365,000 on logging, and I think we log it, every 3 or 4 years. So we do make money on this reservoir, all right? And I'm upset that the board was thinking selling that property for $1,000 an acre. I spend that in my construction company a day. You guys ought to be ashamed. And that's why I want to keep that for the town of Proctor so the kids can enjoy it. That's a nice piece of property. property up there. You people want to go up there and look at it. It's a nice piece of property and it hasn't been touched. The only thing that's been done is logging. And it's selective logging. They pick the trees as they log. So I don't know why this is even being brought up. I want the town to keep forever. It was a freebie from the Proctors and they should keep it because you are making revenue off that land.
Mr. Moderator, Select Board, Matthew Trombley, I live here in Proctor, 5-year resident, lifelong resident of Vermont. Hunter, fisherman, avid outdoorsman. I'm on the board of directors for the Vermont Outdoor Guides Association, also representing VAST, Vermont Traditions Coalition, and backcountry hunters and anglers. Folks, the reality is we're not going to ever have more open land. The more we lose it, we will never get it back. It's that simple. We have to fight to keep our land open and for public access for my kids, our grandkids, and all of those down the road. This is a huge problem across our country. We have to continue to work together to help our town and our select board to come up with problems and solutions to the challenges financially. But selling a piece of our public land that my family has looked down on in our camp in Chittenden for over 80 years would rip my heart apart. I encourage you to vote no tonight.
Urso, a resident of Oak Street for 35 years, I am wholeheartedly in support of voting yes on Article 7. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to provide this town with a firm financial footing. The public access issue is a boogeyman. This land is surrounded by the Green Mountain National Forest. How much undevelopable woods do we need in this state? And let me tell you what will happen to this land the day after we sell it, if the select board decides to sell it. It's absolutely nothing. It will remain in the same condition it is now. And I don't know how many of us have even set foot on the land. So we're being asked not to preserve the land for the public, but for the snowmobilers, the hikers, the cross-country people, and the birders. Okay, so let me finish. So, the day after this land is sold, the Green Mountain Club will still have a legally defensible easement to use the land. It will still have a legally defensible right of first refusal to purchase 50 acres to buffer the Long Trail, although I don't know what they want to buffer it from because we've just got acres and acres and acres of woods. VAST will still have a legally defensible permit to use snowmobiles on the land. The cross-country trail people have a legally defensible easement to use this land that cannot be controverted. Lastly, there will not even be an application to develop this land. The person buying it has said he has no intention of developing it. And if you think that he's going to turn into some boogeyman and show up with a project that destroys this land, nonsense. Let me introduce you to Act 250. Act 250 was passed by the legislature a long time ago. One of its main goals is to protect wildlife, habitat, to protect water sources, to protect trails. You can't get a permit to do anything. It'll be preserved forever. One last question, one last comment.
Excuse me, you still have 30 seconds?
Yes, on the finances. If you took $1.5 million and invested it for 10 years, you'd get a 6% return. That's $90,000 a year. That's $900,000 after 10 years plus $1.5 million. The handout right there says logging will generate $189,000 a year after 10 years. Time for the booze.
Thank you. My name is Ray Ault, and I am thankful that the Select Board, I speak in favor of the motion because I think the Select Board is taking a correct step to learn more about what interest there is in this property, which is an asset of the town. And in the end, after reviewing proposals from all interested parties, which could include trusts, land trusts, conservation organizations, private individuals willing to make a pass-through sale of a substantial part of the property to such an entity, especially that land that has been identified by certain organizations as being special to their interests. This is not a vote to sell the land. This is a vote to find out what the options are to do with it. And I think, given the response here tonight, that there is a high probability that they will choose to keep it, but repurpose it, make it more carefully managed. It already is possible that we could log it for the next 4 years, I'm told, and yield about $400,000 to the town. So they're truly trying to explore all options, and a yes vote does not vote to sell the land.
Justin Carter from Proctor. Like Matt, I'm an avid hunter and fisherman. My opinion is do not sell the land. Once it's gone, it's gone. You're never getting it back. We do not need to sell. You don't sell your assets. Once it's gone, it's gone. And people can say they're not going to develop it. I understand what Act 250 is, but just because you say it, it doesn't matter. Once they sign that dotted line, they can do what they want.
Are there any additional speakers before this gentleman speaks?
Andrea Berkeley, very briefly, if there's a decision ever in the future to sell the land, my belief is it should be to an entity, as Ray suggested, that will preserve the land. And I'd also like, it may not be the appropriate time, but I'd like to request that this be decided by paper ballot rather than by hands.
I have a few questions. I'm not for selling. Tommy Grace. The gross for the next 5 years is $361,000. The cost to log is $172, so it's like 47.5%. Is that what we're paying the forester to market? I mean, what are we paying to log? And then on the backside, there's a cost of putting in a road of $100,000. Why would we pay to put a road to nowhere? I mean, maybe just a better way, we could save more money if we did it a different way.
We're going to let Stan address the question.
The road will be needed for the next logging project. It's about a mile long. It can only be logged in the summertime because of the steepness of the slope. The road is needed. It will be used for the next show at the Winter Convention where we will net out $187,000. It would also be needed for the next 2 shows, which could take place in the next 10 years, which are worth about $100,000 apiece. But in order to get to this land, we need the road.
Why are we putting the road in? Why is it not in the bid? I mean, why is the town paying for the road? If the road goes to nowhere, why are we paying? I mean, why not let the logger with a gravel skidder, a bigger log truck, or maybe talk to someone up on, is it McKinley Road up there, and maybe get a right of way through there? I mean, $100,000, I mean, we don't need to extend the road. I log up there. I know how steep it is. And there's also another road coming down to Greeno's Camp. I'm just trying to save the town money. And we're also paying 47.5% to have it marked. That's a lot of money.
The forester has felt that we could do better in the future to build a good road up there, rather than one that a logger can take out just what he wanted to take out. That's the crux of the reason for the town building the road and taking to make sure we have a wilderness there that can be used in the future for 2 more logging shells.
But let the logger take care of that.
I prefer, the forester would prefer to have a...
But it's not the forester's call, it's our call.
I can say this right now.
Okay, well, I think the town should know this. It's a lot of money per year.
Hi, my name is Ava Loy Lanning, and I live on Ormsby Avenue. I'm new to Proctor. My family and I have been in Proctor 5 years, and one of the reasons that we've chosen to make Proctor home is how committed and lovely this community is, both in its natural beauty and in its people. We come from Texas originally, so we understand the meaning of water shortage. We understand what it means to make sure that we keep and preserve our natural resources as much as we can. And I believe that the idea that we would even consider selling this beautiful property that's a spectacular natural resource, that we would consider selling it to a developer when it would no longer be in our hands. People wouldn't be able to use it if that developer chose to go in the direction of taking those rights away. I think that that's heartbreaking. I think it's heartbreaking that we would even consider letting this land go, because once it disappears, it's gone. It's gone. We can't get it back. And there's absolutely no connection to our community or even to our beautiful state by an outside buyer. So I hope that the people, when they are considering this vote, and I hope that the board, when you are taking into consideration the wishes of the voters of Proctor, I hope that you consider that this is the legacy that we're leaving. I hope that we're on the right side of this legacy, and that we leave this legacy for our children, for our grandchildren to enjoy in the future. They deserve it. We deserve it as a town. Thank you.
Question has been called. Need a second? Second. Okay. All in favor of calling the motion? Say aye. All opposed? No. Okay, the sentiment. Ayes have it, and the question is called, and the debate has ended. Thank you. So I'm going to read the article again. I need 7 people to request a paper ballot. If you want a paper ballot. I do not see 7 people requesting a paper ballot. I will read Article 7. Shall the town vote to authorize the select board to list and otherwise solicit offers to purchase watershed land in Chittenden, Vermont for such value and on the terms the select board deemed to be acceptable. All those in favor of Article 7 say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. The appearance of nays have it. The nays have it.
Yes. Everyone mic.
Quiet, please. Say your name, please.
Good evening, my name is Logan Landon. I'd like to propose a possible fiber optic internet company, specifically a CUD